Thank you, Zaina, and thank you for the question. Anyone else? Okay, do either of you have a question for the other? You do? Okay.
Like, I remember one of the questions you were mentioning before is what we think about whether our works might be misunderstood because of, you know, the visual quality. You know, although we're intentionally using this visual language, you know, we're in the danger of being misunderstood. I'd like to, yeah.
Can I clarify that for the audience?
Sure.
So we were having a conversation earlier about about this idea of kitsch and of using humor in artwork. So if you're an artist who wants to have a wide reach but is commenting on one's own culture, my question was, is there a danger that in using stereotype and humor that might not be understood outside of the original context in which it was developed? And is this something that, you know, is a concern?
I think that misperception already is a beautiful tool because you can use it in so many ways. But I think that, you know, today with the contemporary art, a lot of works, you know, require a little bit of context explanation. So I think that ultimately, the way things are moving now is that artists are a lot more connected to their audiences. You know, there isn't the white wall gallery that separates them anymore. And I think that, you know, by using social media and playing with the misperception, you can work to create an even stronger message, and it's part of the challenge. You know, I think it's a lot of fun. And actually, I was gonna ask you the same question, Sputniko, in that how do you find, you know, what tools do you use to work around, you know, the idea of misperceptions and stereotypes in your work?
Yeah, like I enjoy being misunderstood as well, and I enjoy misperception. But then even if, you know, maybe out of 9,000 people who see the work, even if 7,000 people misunderstand, if 2,000 people think, wait a minute, what does she want to talk about, and click my website, have a look at my website or look at my Twitter, then they could sort of get involved in what I really wanted to discuss. And I think my work already do discuss what I want to talk about in itself, but that sort of, I like playing with some sort of viral sort of catch in my work, especially on YouTube. And yeah, I use blogs, Twitter, Facebook. It's so much easier to get my message across now that, you know, museums or galleries are not the only place to get in touch with the audience. And I personally, I was just, I graduated school 2 years ago, and until then I was just a crazy person uploading videos on YouTube. I wasn't really an artist, but then a curator of the Museum of Contemporary Art in Tokyo, and then a curator of MoMA, they saw my work on YouTube and said, do you want to exhibit? And I never exhibited outside of school. And I thought it was spam, but I thought, okay, yeah, I'll show. So YouTube really helped me. At that time, I didn't even have a commercial gallery. I didn't know how the art world worked. I knew how YouTube worked. So I think it's a very different generation of artists. I think we are it's just completely different from 10, 20 years ago, I think.
Zaina, do you want to respond to that? Or?
I definitely agree, and I'm also curious. Maybe being a mathematician and spending more time in the science field, what's the next step after Facebook and Twitter? As artists, what would be your dream tool, say, to work out there?
That's really an interesting question, because right now I'm sort of experimenting, but in the end, real world, you could do a lot more. So in my recent projects, I gather people on Twitter. I get team who want to help me on Twitter, and then sort of meet them in real life and make work together. And sort of Twitter helps me also get in contact with a community I can never get in touch otherwise. So currently I'm working with a bunch of hip-hop rappers in suburban Tokyo. They live in a district, Adachi district. And it's a little bit, it's kind of like really suburban. I don't know, have you lived in London? It's a bit like Hackney in Tokyo. Yeah, have you lived in London? So anyhow, I wrote on Twitter, I want to meet rappers living in Hackney in Tokyo. And then these rappers replied to me, and I met them. And now we're trying to create a new project together. We're trying to create a bus tour of this district. But instead of bus guiding, these rappers will rap about the district in the area. And it's really interesting experience for me, because I would never meet them unless I use these tools. So I think I'm moving sort of in the real world via Twitter. But what's your idea of new technology or new ways?
I think definitely the idea of collaboration and community, because sharing resources, sharing ideas, I think is the healthy environment for creation. And I think the whole concept of the individualist art pop, art star is gone, and it's not sustainable. We've seen many movements, come and go so quickly, and so many people in and out of the scene very quickly. I think that now, especially given that there's so much noise around us, that I see things moving to a more hybrid concept of collaboration and community, and just the decentralization of power too. That the artist not the artist still functions in existing and creating work with or without the museum and the curator. That more let's say alternative method of exhibiting is also available. They all work together.
Yeah, but
No. Final thought?
Well, yeah, it's true. Like now, it's not the age of one singular pop star. It's not like Michael Jackson days. It's like many different communities, popular culture, but many different communities are really, much more important now. So, I don't know.
Right, which speaks to sort of the proliferation of the internet, because that allows for these micro communities to develop, rather than it's bottom up rather than top down in terms of how we communicate. But I think we're gonna leave it there, because with this you brought up two really crucial things I think that we might return to in the next session: the idea of the artist as individualist, and the idea of the hybrid. So we'll pause there, and just again, thank you both so very much for a fantastic talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sputzniko さん、それから、ゼーナさん、そしてディーナさん、どうもありがとうございました。もう一度拍手をお願いします。